If you were to take a trip to Canada and you happen to talk with a gas station attendant, a cashier, an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 16-year-old, 89-year-old, and you mention the name of Terry Fox, probably all of these people would know exactly who you were talking about. In Canada, there are bridges, parks, schools, a mountain, stretches of highway, all named after Terry Fox. There's a postage stamp that has Terry Fox's picture on it. There are 7 statues of Terry Fox in Canada. In 1999, there was a survey taken, and Terry Fox's name came out top in Canada's greatest heroes. He was not a politician. He was not a scientist. He was not a celebrity superstar. He was not a musician. Who exactly was Terry Fox? He was born in 1958 in Winnipeg, and he had an ordinary family life. He had an older brother, younger sister. He liked to play toy soldiers. He liked to play with his blocks. He liked to ride his bike. He liked to pick blueberries for a little extra spending money. And he loved sports. He loved sports, any kind of sports. When he was in the 8th grade, he was very small for his age, but he wanted to play on the basketball team. And it turned out that he was 19th in a list of 19 players. And in his first season of play, he got exactly 1 minute on the court. But he was fierce in his determination. So he went to school early, he stayed late, he practiced. And when he was in the 10th grade, he was a starter for the team. When he graduated from high school, he and his best friend, Doug Allward, won a co-award for Outstanding Athletes of the Year. Then Terry went to Simon Fraser College. And while he was there, he wanted to play on a team there, even if it be the junior varsity team. He was very short still. And he did the same thing he had done in high school. He worked hard. And he made that junior varsity team. He was enjoying his schooling in college. He was loving playing basketball. One day he suddenly got a pain in his knee. And as he did with everything that he did, he just played through the pain until it became excruciating and he could hardly walk. His parents took him to the doctor. They took x-rays, gave him a thorough examination, brought the parents and Terry into the room, and the doctor said, "You have cancer. In order to save your life, we have to amputate your leg." Can you even imagine? He was 18 at the time, wildly interested in sports. The leg was amputated 4 days after getting this news. And after that, there were 16 months of chemotherapy. During this time, there were 2 important things that happened in Terry's mind. The first thing was that the day before surgery, his coach gave him an article about an amputee, a man who had lost one of his legs, who ran in the New York City Marathon. That was the first thing. The second thing was that when he was going to the clinic for these chemotherapy treatments, he met many people who were suffering with cancer. He had been told that if they amputated his leg, he would have a 50 to 70% chance of beating the cancer. 2 years before, it would only have been 15%. But there were people in the clinic whose chances were 15%. And he felt so deeply for these people that sometime in this 16 months, he got an idea of running his own marathon. Running from the east coast of Canada to the west coast of Canada, over 5,000 miles. The United States is 2,900 miles. So he was going to run further than from our east coast to west coast with his artificial leg. So 2 years after he had had his leg amputated, he began training. First, he ran a half a mile, then a mile, then 2 miles, and 3. He ran on trails and roads, up hills, down hills, until he had logged in 3,000 miles in practice. And then he decided he was ready. In April of 1980, he dipped his artificial leg into the Atlantic Ocean, and he filled up a jug of water, which he placed in the van that had been donated. His best friend, Doug Allward, was going to drive a van with him on this trip across the United States, and they would carry their supplies, food, in that van. And they began. Terry developed kind of a hop-hop-step gait. So he'd hop twice on his right leg, step on his artificial left leg. So hop-hop-step, hop-hop-step. And Terry began to run. He did not miss a day. He ran in the rain, the wind. He ran when cars would honk at him and almost drive him off the road. He was determined to make it. He had written a letter to the Cancer Society when he first started his run that said, "The running I can do, even if I have to crawl every last mile. We need your help. The people in cancer clinics all over the world need people who believe in miracles." Some people asked him, "How are you doing this? How are you running?" He was running a marathon a day, 26 miles a day. Now, most people who train for marathons train for months and months, and they run one marathon. But he was doing it every day. Terry said, "Well, I say to myself, get that mile down, make it to the sign, pass the corner. Get that mile down, make it to the sign, pass to the corner." And he said, "That's all I thought." At first, people didn't take much notice of Terry's run. He would have sometimes people there who would give money. Sometimes he would have no people at all as he passed through the towns and cities. But when he got to Ontario, there was a man by the name of Isidore Sharp who had had a son die of cancer. And when he saw what Terry was doing, he said, "I'm going to donate $10,000 and I'm going to challenge 900 other corporations to donate." And from that time, everything sped up. Donations increased. People would press $100 bills into Terry's hand. One time, a man sat in a vat of vanilla banana cream and earned $912 for Terry's cause. Another time, a guitar player who had no money handed over his $500 guitar because he was so impressed with Terry's run. There was a woman who said when she saw Terry run, "This makes me have hope for the whole human race." So he continued to run 26 miles a day. When he got to a place near Thunder Bay, he took one day off, and that was to swim in the waters of the bay with a 10-year-old amputee. He had a glorious time, and so did the young 10-year-old boy. He got back on the road the next day. When he got just outside of Thunder Bay, he had gone about 5/8 of the distance that he was planning to go. He began coughing, and then it became hard for him to breathe. As he did, he pushed until he could push no longer, and he told Doug, who was in the van, "I need to go to the hospital." So they took him to the hospital, and he gave a press conference after the doctor told him that his cancer was back and that it was in his lungs. Terry said in this press conference, "If there's any way I can continue, I'm going to." And he began the hardest fight of his life. Isidore Sharp said, "You started it, and we will not rest until your dream to find a cure for cancer is realized." And in September of that year, Sharp organized a run where 300,000 runners participated, and they earned $3.7 million for the cause. Cards, letters poured in for Terry. One very young person wrote in and said, "I love you, Terry. I know you've had a hard time running, but I know that you'll get better." And he did fight hard. But in June of 1981, he passed away. He was just a month short of his 23rd birthday. But that was not the end of Terry Fox's legacy. The next year, Isidore Sharp organized another run in Terry's name. And the year after, and the year after, and the year after, and even today, every year in September, there are Terry Fox runs. There are runs all over the world. I listed some of these: Kuwait, Ireland, Belgium, China, Germany, Russia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Zimbabwe. All over the world, Terry's story has affected people and made them want to find a cure for cancer too. To this date, $900 million has been raised through Terry Fox's foundation. That's almost $1 billion. And all because this very ordinary young man became extraordinary through the power of his heart and his perseverance. Terry Fox, the greatest hero of Canada.